I think most Republicans do not believe that the executive branch or the officers of it should be able to wave what J.D. Vance correctly calls a magic wand so people can circumvent the normal immigration process.
You have the mayor and the governor saying that these businesses needed workers.
Temporary protected status has been around for a long time.
Ohio businesses needed workers.
As you know, we love Scott Jennings. We love what he brings to the table for CNN, and I hope CNN has tripled his pay after the last several months because he is literally the only reason to watch that godforsaken network, and he delivered again yesterday. Now, after Governor Mike DeWine delivered the facts and blew away the bomb threat hoax out of Springfield, Ohio, well, Scott Jennings brought the receipts, and he was looking for some apologies. Let's see what happened.
I do think it's important when we think about this story. All weekend long, we were told that what Trump and Vance were doing, they were directly responsible for these bomb threats and whatever. Today, in case you missed it, the governor of Ohio said the bomb threats were hoaxes and they were coming in from overseas. And he said, quote, many of these threats are coming in from overseas, made by those who want to fuel the current discord surrounding Springfield. So all weekend long, J.D. Vance and Trump, but specifically Vance, were directly blamed for putting people in harm's way. Today, the governor says they're coming from overseas. And I mean, we can start the apology line tonight on the show, but the governor says it's overseas and it's not the supposed MAGA radicalized army.
Now, we're going to get to some more on this because you can see that the human Q-tip there is about to chime in, Ellie Mistal. But what Scott Jennings just said there in that panel discussion, wouldn't it have been great if what he said on the air on CNN in this panel discussion where he's outnumbered, 5-1 or 6-1, wouldn't it have been great if that exact same speech was delivered at an editorial meeting at CNN, at a pre-show production meeting, where all the producers and hosts are called into one room and saying, hey, guys, we got this one wrong. And we just spent all weekend hammering the Republican ticket, falsely accusing them of being directly responsible for wreaking terror on the citizens of Springfield, Ohio, and we blew it. So let's alter our programming now and make sure we come on the air and fix and correct the problem. Why does it take this guy, a political analyst paid to bring a conservative perspective to the table, to actually do the job of the producers and network executives at CNN? But based on the programming that we've seen there, we certainly know for a fact that that conversation didn't happen. They were all told, keep up the good work, guys. You're doing great. Just got a phone call from Kamala's plane. They love everything you're doing. We are set, baby. We are set. All right, let's let the human Q-tip take over here because it's great.
Says it's overseas and it's not the supposed MAGA radicalized
Maybe
army.
Instead of talking to the governor, you should talk about the Haitian immigrant community in Springfield that is being menaced by these people. There have been reports that these people cannot.
Do you see how quickly the pivot is made? He doesn't even address the fact that this network and liberals, leftists, and the Democrats have been lying about these bomb threats. Immediately, it's like, okay, fine, bomb threats, fine. Let's talk about the migrants. Let's talk about the Haitians. And by the way, he just made a claim. Again, last I checked, one of the N's in CNN stands for news. He just made a claim on the network that Haitians are the subject of terror and persecution in Springfield, right? Hang on, watch it.
That is being menaced by these people.
They're being menaced by what people exactly? Hold on, let me go back further.
Talk about the Haitian immigrant community in Springfield that is being menaced by these people.
Can I tell you something? If there are Haitian immigrants in the community in Springfield, Ohio that have been menaced by these people, I'm guessing these people are Republican voters, Trump supporters, these people. I assure you that if Haitian immigrants in Springfield have been menaced by Republicans or Trump supporters, you'd hear about it. You'd have them on camera right now. They'd be delivering their testimony. You'd be seeing the police reports. This is a myth, or at least it's unfounded, let's say. I guess it could exist, but I haven't seen it. Have you? But he just made the claim, and that's all that matters. They've been menaced by these people. Okay, keep going, Ellie.
There have been reports that these people cannot send their children to school. There have been reports of...
No, that's not true. There have been reports of parents keeping their kids home from school because of the bomb threat hoaxes that have been amplified by CNN and cable news, which therefore, again, brings on more bomb threats. If you ignore the fake bomb threats, then parents will be fine sending their kids to school. So these reports, he's misreporting the news, but that's fine. Go ahead, Ellie. Keep going, baby. I'm going to tell you, you're going to get a great contract from CNN if you keep up this behavior. You might even get your own primetime show.
Property damage. One of the Haitian newspaper has shot down as they have been under threat. Maybe you should talk to Haitians instead of Governor Mike DeWitt, who has been part and parcel of some of the lies and attacks against the Haitian community.
Okay, so number one there, he talked about how Haitians have had property destroyed. Haitians, if they have property, it's whatever they brought on their backs to this country. How about the property destruction of American citizens who have to deal with Haitian migrants living on their front lawns right now against their will and against their permission? But we don't have to care about them at all. You see, this is where we are in this country right now. Listen, I think every single American would love to help people who need help from a war-torn country, from a hellhole that is Haiti, although we're not allowed to call it a hellhole because that makes you racist too. Although for what a wonderful functioning country it is, they seem to be fleeing it in droves. We'd love to help them. The problem is you're not helping them by destroying the very community that you've moved them to. But there are no violins playing for the people of Springfield. There is no clothing being rented on behalf of their plight. There is no passion, or for that matter, righteous indignation from the likes of Ellie Mistal or anybody else on cable news on behalf of the people, the citizens who work hard, pay their taxes, and try to keep their community together in Springfield, Ohio, despite the outside influences that have been beating down on them for months on end now. You don't hear anybody speaking out for them. No, Ellie Mistal only has concerns over, as he puts it, the Haitians who are living there, which is great. If that's what his main concern is, that's fine. But the people who want to be president of the United States right now on behalf of the Republican Party, they have great concerns for the Haitians. They have greater concerns for the Americans, because guess what? That's who they're there to represent. That's who they're there to lead. That's how this country works.
We just had a whole segment, Scott, where you proudly said that people should tone down the rhetoric and that we need to take personal responsibility for the things we say. Well, here we have an example of stochastic terrorism against a vulnerable immigrant community, which does not have Secret Service protection, Scott, which does not have military force watching their back. These are vulnerable people out there, and they are being menaced because of lies J.D. Vance is making.
So it's terrorism by criticizing the conditions on the ground in Springfield, Ohio. But understand exactly the point that Ellie Mistal was just making, because I appreciate him being honest and at least being transparent with the American people and the viewers of CNN about where his priorities are and what he's saying. Donald Trump has Secret Service protection. So you can go ahead and throw whatever violent threats against him that you want, because he's protected by Secret Service. So keep it up, everybody. Do whatever you want against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. They've got Secret Service protection. But the people of Haiti, the Haitians who were living in Springfield, Ohio, by our permission and our good graces, they don't have Secret Service protection. They have nobody to protect them. Funny, though, I did a quick search before we went on the air. I haven't seen any reports of any Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, who have had to endure strangers sitting in bushes just 100 yards away from them, pointing an AK-47 at them. Maybe it's me, but it seems like the violence is only directed in one way at this moment. Scott Jennings was not done on CNN. Sadly, again, as you saw from the makeup of the table, it's one against many, but he's up to it. In fact, frankly, I don't think it's fair. They should make it 1 against 40, and then Scott Jennings maybe will have a fight on his hands.
It's an important conversation. How are they here legally? Because of executive action on immigration. I don't believe it is an attack on immigrants.
Are you saying they don't have a right to? They shouldn't
race.
be here when they're.
Oh, did you hear that? She almost said, "Are you saying they don't have a right to be here?" Well, actually, no, they do not have a right to be here. But she had to correct herself. And that was a beautiful moment, because this is how the left looks at our policies on the border, and what they refer to as immigration policies is that everyone around the world has a right to be here, an inherent God-given right to be here. And once they get here, no matter how they got here, you have an obligation to take care of them. And if you don't, and if you dare to raise your hand and object and say, hold on a minute, how are we supposed to take care of everyone in the world if they all come here? If you say they all have a right to be here, how in the hell are we supposed to take care of them? If you dare raise that question, well, you're a xenophobic racist. And as Ellie Mistal just said, you're guilty of terrorism against them. All right, so let's go back to that really wonderful moment where she had to correct herself by saying that they had a right to be here.
How are they here legally? Because of executive action on immigration. I don't believe it is an attack on immigrants.
Are you saying they don't have a right to? They shouldn't
race.
be here when they're
Do you not agree
essentially
with temporary
saving the
protected
town?
status? Do you know what temporary protected status is, and do you not agree with it?
No, I think most Republicans do not believe that the executive branch or the officers of it should be able to wave what J.D. Vance correctly calls a magic wand so people can circumvent the normal immigration process.
You have the
Temporary
mayor and the
status
governor
has been-
saying that these businesses needed workers.
Temporary protected status has been around for a long time.
And it's been granted by
Democratic, Republican, and
Ohio
Republican
business.
I just want to point out that left-wing liberals in America are standing shoulder to shoulder with business owners who are rationalizing cheap exploited labor that has come to the middle of this country as a great and the businesses need this cheap exploited labor. Why aren't you on the side of the owners of the sweatshops? Nike needs those Uyghurs to make those tennis shoes for 20 cents an hour. Don't you see? This is a wonderful thing. Listen, you can agree with that if you'd like. But it's just good to know where the organized left in this country stands now. That they're not making the case for these Haitians in Springfield based on humanitarian needs, based on the conditions on the ground in Haiti being so horrible that it's incumbent on us through our great American charity that we deliver for them and help them out of the plight. No, we need to bring them here because American businesses demand that cheap labor, damn it. Wow. It's good to know where we stand now in this country. That needs to be amplified quite a bit. One other quick question before we get back to this, because of course the debate now, as you're seeing, has to do with whether Haitians have a right here or whether they should be here or whether it's our responsibility to bring them here. I don't know if you know this. You probably do because you're super smart, way smarter than anybody sitting on that panel, Scott Jennings excluded. But you know, Haiti, they always refer to Haiti as an island nation. The island nation of Haiti, you hear this all the time from these morons. It is an island, but it's not an exclusive island of Haiti that it sits on. You know that it's an island and it's split in half. The western side of the island is Haiti. The eastern side of the island is the Dominican Republic. And Haiti has gone through a lot. Haiti has gone through earthquakes. They have gone through fires. They have gone through famine. They've gone through dysfunctional dictatorships going all the way back to Papa Doc Duvalier. And it's always been a problem down in Haiti, right? And now they're fleeing here and getting granted temporary protective status, as they're debating right here in this segment, out of the good graces of the Biden administration, not because they want them to be immigrant citizens and vote or anything. No. It's just because we love them, we care about them, we want to help them, and you know, business owners need cheap labor. But here's the thing that nobody seems to ever raise in these conversations. Haiti's going through this, horrible situation again. It's like every 7 years, Haiti goes through a horrible situation and we have to take care of them. But wouldn't it be more efficient for them to just go across that border on the same island that they live in and get help in the Dominican Republic? Right? I mean, why go through all of this, the boat launches to the United States and the airdrops from the United States and piling on and getting down to the southern border and then crossing the border in Texas, and then the Border Patrol is on horseback and they're accused falsely by the Biden administration of whipping these Haitians as they're trying to illegally enter our country. And then they're giving temporary. Yeah, wouldn't it be a lot more efficient if they just opened up the border to the Dominican Republic and let them walk across and get their help and subsidies there? Why isn't that ever a solution? You should really ask the government of the Dominican Republic about that. About why they don't want to just open up the gates and let their brothers across the border in from Haiti. You should look into that. Find out why we're the ones who have to go through all of these extraordinary efforts to bring Haitians here instead of just letting them walk across that imaginary border. They have a big wall there in Haiti and Dominican Republic. It's a really big wall. It's super effective. Funny how we don't get to have one here. All right, back to the discussion.
This is needed workers.
Listen, most Americans think we need less immigration, not more. Most Americans think we need a process, and there is a
That's true.
legitimate
Those two things are
there
true.
is a legitimate conversation to be had about how cities on the border in Ohio, in New York, and everywhere else are being expected to absorb large populations. That doesn't mean the populations are inherently bad, or the people are inherently bad, or that they don't
But
provide
he's saying
value.
they're inherently bad, and that's the point.
But when you put huge numbers of people in communities and they begin to have impacts on the policing system, the healthcare system, the roads, whatever, the school, whatever it is, and then you just say to the communities, good luck. I think Americans have a right to a debate about this. And this is what the Democrats don't want to have.
No,
they think it's fine. And the Republicans want to talk about why we have an insane immigration system that cannot be controlled and reformed in a way that would make people think, okay, we actually have a process and it's under control instead of being out of control.
That's where you're exactly wrong. Kamala Harris has a wonderful affordable housing policy. And if you guys are really worried about housing for these new Americans, then we should probably support her plan. Have you read it? It's actually pretty good. You're saying that you want to process temporary protected status is a process. Now, you might not like the process,
Correct.
but it is a process that has been used by Democratic presidents and Republican presidents. If there is a problem,
Does that make it right?
If there is a problem, I think temporary protected status, which is something that we give to people when their countries are in crisis, is not just right, it is moral.
I just want you to know that from a Democrat's perspective or a liberal Marxist perspective, like Eli Mistal's perspective, every country on this planet pretty much is in crisis compared to the United States. They actually think that economic hardship is a legitimate reason for asylum in this country, which it is not, by the way. And every time you talk to any of the people who are claiming asylum on our border so that they can get their free ticket into the United States, and you start to delve into it and say, okay, so when you say you need asylum, what does that mean exactly? They'll say, well, there's no jobs there. There's no jobs there. And we come here because this is where that's not a reason for asylum status in the United States of America. There are probably 8 countries right now on the planet who, relatively speaking, are not in crisis compared to our functioning way of life here in America. And according to them, they think we should open the floodgates for all of them.
So if you really think that there is a problem onboarding these new Americans into our communities, then I think we should all support more affordable housing being built all across this nation, because we certainly have the space.
Can't be done.
That is a great idea. In fact, what we should do is adopt the affordable housing policies of the state of California, dominated by Democrat elected officials for the last 20 years of our existence. We should adopt their affordable housing policies that they've been spending billions of dollars on for the last 2 decades, because nobody lives on the streets in California. Everybody's got a roof over their head because left-wing, liberal, big government affordable housing policies always work. Wait, none of that is true. None of that is true at all. None of those policies work. It results in more people living on the streets. Scott Jennings was not done on CNN. This is probably my favorite segment of them all, and we'll finish up with it, where he talks about the very real, legitimate concerns over volatile political rhetoric in this country. And I want to remind you, as this topic is framed, President Donald Trump has endured 2 assassination attempts in as many months, at a time when the vast narrative coming out of left-wing politicians and media personalities and pop culture personalities have been that Donald Trump must be stopped at all costs by whatever means necessary. He's an existential threat to this nation and the future of our nation. He will be a dictator and suspend our Constitution and be a dictator from day one if he is elected. He is a racist, and he will be a totalitarian if he should be elected. And suddenly, you see, of course, that some people actually believe that and try to take up arms to eliminate him from the public stage. So given that backdrop, let's see how the CNN panel discusses volatile, violent rhetoric in our mainstream political conversation.
My big story this weekend was the New York Times' excellent reporting on John Roberts and how he's been putting the thumb on the scale for Donald Trump all past this term. So my hot take is this. If Harris is lucky enough to win the Electoral College by only 1 state, John Roberts and his Supreme Court will find a way to flip that state back into Trump and give Trump the victory. It will be a redo of 2000. So people in Harris's camp need to understand they need to win by more than one state. They need to win by 2, 3, 4 states to make their margin of victory so large that the Supreme Court can't take it away from them.
There's a lot going on in that.
I feel like they know they need to win by more than one state.
Yeah, I feel
Because
like
the Supreme Court
I feel like that
steal
might
it.
be the only way to do this thing this time around, Scott.
I mean, for the record, Bush won Florida.
right,
I would
Scott.
love, I would love to roll that recount back there.
I don't think so.
Please.
You know, my God,
We should have
conspiracy theory night here at
We
the
should
Andy
have had the
Phillips Show.
recount.
Okay, all right. Here's I was reading in The Hill today.
All right, so you saw what just unfolded there, right? That at a time where we're all being asked to tone down the political rhetoric, and we're all, but although I don't know why Republicans are being asked to tone down political rhetoric, because I don't see assassination attempts against anyone other than Donald Trump. We have Elie Mystal doubling down, saying that the Supreme Court will steal the election like they did in 2000. We have mainstream political panelists on CNN continuing to deny the election results, not of 2016, but of 2000. That they still refuse to accept the results of that election. They probably, if pressed, would also deny the 2004 went to George W. Bush. I say this only to remind you that we keep hearing from these people that this is Trump, this is Trump, this is Trump. He's an election denier. He's the worst of the worst. All of this extraordinary stuff that we're seeing, all of the tossing out of regular journalistic norms, let alone societal civilizational norms when it comes to conversations about politics. It's all Trump's fault. It's all because of Trump. As soon as he's gone, everything will go back to normal, and Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan will have a beer after they fight about the budget every day in Washington, D.C., which never actually happened. They still deny the results of the 2000 election. Everything they say about Trump, they said about George W. Bush. They said it about John McCain. They said it about Bob Dole. They said it about Mitt Romney. They said it about Ronald Reagan. They say it about you every single day. This isn't about Trump. And it's not about his election denial, because they are still denying the results of the election, not just Hillary's loss. They're still holding the candle for Gore. These people are awful. They're really awful. And it's very challenging to have to step up every day and be as charitable and generous as I am to them. But I'm going to keep fighting the fight for you, I promise.